Welcome back to the ACC guys. I'm Mike. That's
I'm
Steve.
Steven.
I'm not sitting next to you. It's kind of weird. I was going to point. It's not working out too well. But got another week of power rankings. So
Yes.
it's been pretty good. How'd you enjoy this past week of football, though? Crazy, right?
Oh, it's been a crazy week of college football. And leading up to today, uh, I guess people will know when we were shooting the show because huge news released today. The Rose Bowl signed the agreement to do a 12-team college playoff in 2024-2025. So one of the major bowls already putting a pen to the paper on it. So we're getting close. We're getting really close to a
Getting
12-team playoff in the future.
yeah, yeah. It'll be really nice. I'd be curious to see. I think it makes a huge difference because I can't remember who it was. Somebody actually made the point in one of the other shows that I listened to that like if Georgia and possibly Michigan wanted to, they could just or TCU maybe they could just take a game off in the championship game and they still play in the playoffs. Whereas if it was 12 team, they'd be playing for home field advantage. So might actually help out football a little
Yeah.
bit.
I
Yeah.
almost feel
So
the way it works out right now that Ohio State could. I'm sorry, Michigan could do the same thing. They could lose and still get in. I don't think there's a scenario where the two Big Ten teams still don't slip in. So,
yeah, that's true. It's true. All right.
but let's get
So
on
we're
into
gonna
these power rankings. Let's start with
yeah.
number 14. Let's get some of these lower teams knocked out because this hasn't changed in a while. Surprisingly, these last two really haven't changed much because both of them did not play the last game of the season
Yeah.
due to the tragic events at Virginia. So Virginia Tech is starting it out at number 14, dead last. And like we've said many times before, there's a reason why they're there. I mean, statistically, one of the worst teams in the conference when it comes to offense, and that's been a problem ever since Beamer Ball went away. Like ever since then, it's just been a slow downhill uh, ride for their defense or for their offense. But their defense really this year was another disappointment. So that's something that needs to improve for them. I would like to see them get back to the some of the Virginia Tech defenses of old, and maybe they can pull themselves out of the bottom of the ACC next year and start moving back towards the top. I mean, they got some pieces there, but it's going to take a lot because I mean, after Fuentes, they really are hurting again still on offense, and it's going to take a lot to change that offense and get them the firepower they need.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and not playing a game, obviously, it's not like they were going to move up. And it's just been a rough year for Virginia Tech. I think there are some bright sides. I think the defense showed flashes. I have some faith. It's a newer defensive coordinator, first time in the role, so I'd be happy to see that moving forward into the seasons. And as far as like Virginia, I mean, it's just really tough. You're already having a tough season, and to go through something as difficult as they're going through, I think Tony Elliott. It's been a real test for him as a head coach, and I think he's handled it pretty good. So you know, always going to keep our thoughts on Virginia, and you know, more to them in the future. See what they can do in recruiting. See what they can handle in the off season, and come back and hit it hard next year. See what really happens, and
Oh,
we'll
I
move on.
agree.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead and move on to number 12 here. We got Boston College. Once again, not another surprise. I don't even think I think they actually moved up, but that's because Virginia didn't play. Um, just not a. I mean, that's your season. You know, the only team in the Atlantic to not be bowl eligible, and it showed. Not much offense, not much defense. They had a nice upset with NC State, but it just went. It really wasn't anything to work with after that. So
Well, they had the huge upset over NC State. Boston College offense really was coming along at the end of the year. So
yeah,
the fact that they moved up to 12, a lot of it did have to do with Virginia not playing. But at the same time, it was Boston College starting to put up some numbers offensively, especially passing the ball. I think one of the latest things I was looking at, like their passing offense was towards the top half of the conference, which was impressive for them because they were kind of mid towards the bottom most of the year, and right towards that last half of the season, Moorhead got it going, even with the offensive line injuries they had. So I mean, there's some future there. There, Boston College might have some pieces. If they can get past the
Yeah.
injuries on their O line, maybe they can put together a better season next year. But they got to find a running game. They need a running back bad.
Yeah, yeah, they definitely need to get it going again there because that's what you expect from Boston College. Last thing you ever expect is, well, Boston College needs a running game. They have a pretty good history there, especially recently. They're usually producing one of the top backs in the ACC. So but we'll see what Halfley can do. And I mean, he's had some pretty good starts this season. He's had some good seasons there. Injuries got him though. So moving on to number 11. Surprise! It's it's the team that was going to take over the conference. Miami, just not the year they were expecting. And hey, I'm a Florida State fan. I'm going to give you a little bit of a hard time. But since we cover all the ACC, I mean, in real spot there's talent on that team. It's not like it's a bad team because they don't have anything, and they had some injuries, but Tyler Van Dyke was just not 100% the entire year. There's a lot more going on there. So we'll see what Cristobal can do next year. But this year, just you're not playing good football. Couldn't even get bowl eligible against Pitt, which shouldn't happen. You should have been able to beat Pitt, honestly. So
Well, it's not even that. It's the lackluster effort that Miami had against Pitt. Considering that is a game where they win, they go to the championship. Or, sorry, championship. They go to a bowl game.
yeah,
Uh, I'm sorry. I'm still living on what they were supposed to do in the preseason championship run. But
right.
no, they could have went to a bowl game, but the effort wasn't there. They were, and once again, there were some coaching issues in that game too. I don't like the way some of the quarterbacks, the way they were handled in game, and I felt like it was one of those things where, especially because a team like Pitt, who is one of the best teams in the conference at blitzing, it was something Miami probably should have been a little safer with protecting their quarterbacks. Uh, Now we say they're not in a bowl, but they're not bowl eligible, but they could still go to a bowl game. That is an option for some of these bowl teams this year. That looks like once again it might be a season where all the bowls might not fill out. Um, and so going forward, we'll keep an eye on that and see what they decide to do. Sometimes they cancel the bowls, but sometimes the bowls may decide to go ahead and take on one of these teams that only has 5 wins. So that is an option
Yeah.
that if they can't find a 6-win team, they can move down to a 5-win team. So Miami could still get a bowl game off default. And so there still could be some hope for them to still get some postseason play, get more practice time in.
Heck yeah.
Right now, what they're focusing on really is recruiting, and they're already landed 2 big ones this week. And with the transfers they reportedly might have leaving, they could end up with the number one recruiting class in college football this year because just off attrition. Because remember the new rule, they don't have to stop at their 25 scholarships. You now, as long as you don't go over your 85-man roster, you can put as many people in this one recruiting class,
Yeah.
pen and paper, as you want. So that's huge for Miami. They can do a flip like no one else has done. This is Miami, Florida, other teams like that now can take advantage of that because you don't have to spend years rebuilding like in the past. Now you can
Yeah.
one year turn it around.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that'll be a nice discussion. And one of the other ones,
Oh,
I'm
it
sure
will
we'll
be.
have
That's going to
extra
be fun
time.
to talk about in
We've
off
only
season.
got,
How that
yeah,
happens.
yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. And we'll definitely have plenty of time in our matchups because, we're only talking about one matchup with championship game coming up. And but not much to say about the other teams. Speaking of which, not quite to one of those teams yet, but number 10, moving on, Syracuse. This was a team had such a great start, and you're talking about like the injuries. Injuries really just derailed Syracuse, especially on the defense. Um, because it's not like their offense was super fantastic, but their offense was effectively moving the ball. I like the growth that Schrader showed this year. but even he got injured at some point, and it just they couldn't get the ball back rolling again. So still made it to a bowl, but well, we'll see what they can do. Maybe they can get a little bit healthy in the time frame between now and a bowl game.
And
And
this was a team that was 6-0. And when
yeah,
we first started doing our power rankings, even before we got on doing videos of the power rankings, just started doing the power rankings. This was a team that was near in the top five. They were moving up, and it was looking good for them. And they have been reeling as of late. Last week they had fell all the way to 11th in the power rankings, and only because of a dismal performance by Miami were they able to take a spot back from them because they actually played good against. Their opponent Boston College, which was a game where I thought and I said that I thought Boston College was going to give them a scare and they maybe win it by a touchdown, but the game played out like I thought it would. But then in the fourth quarter, Syracuse found a way to go down and score again late and got that separation they needed and was able to hold on and win the game. And that's something that they haven't had in this losing streak. That in the second
yeah,
half, they've just kind of looked flat and tired from all the injuries. But they fought through the injuries in this game, and granted it's against Boston College, but they've still fought through. This is a BC
yeah,
team, like I said, has been playing better at the end of the year. So, a good win for Syracuse, getting themselves back to 7-5, not finishing with six straight losses. With all the injuries they had, I take that as a win. And honestly, the bowl it's going to be rough for them. There's a lot
yeah,
of mismatches out there for them that they could pair up with, so it's going to be rough. We'll have to see who they match up against
yeah,
because those injuries on Syracuse defense makes it hard for them to go out and look good and represent for the ACC.
yeah,
But
yeah. And yeah, it definitely won't be one of the higher bowls, probably the lower tier, but they put in a hard fight, and honestly, no one was expecting Syracuse to do what they did. I mean, the fact they got to 7 wins is pretty good. Um, Moving on to the next one, we have at number 9. This is kind of a surprise because they're playing the championship this weekend. That's UNC. Um, Offense has just kind of been flat recently, in my opinion. Just not much going on there. It's like Drake May's not really getting help. I mean, you're seeing players like Josh Downs dropping balls. That just it's crazy to me. And defensive kind of figured them out a little bit, and their defense is not going to help them at all. I mean, I think statistically they're one of the worst defenses in the country. And watching them play, I think they are the worst defense in the country. They just haven't shown me anything. They've had a few good moments in certain games, but just not enough
yeah,
so
I mean,
far.
if we're using next year's format, you're looking at the standings in the ACC. It would actually be Florida State Clemson playing for the
Yeah,
ACC title. So, I mean, that's going to be something exciting to look at next year. Next year, it's not just whoever wins the Coastal and whoever wins the Atlantic plays each other. It'll be the two best teams in the ACC. So, that is something to look forward to for next year because, I mean, that would have been a great championship game this year. I know a lot of FSU fans have been really excited about all of a sudden getting a chance to go and watch FSU play for the ACC title. I mean, that would be
yeah,
huge, especially a rematch versus Clemson. So, I mean, there's something there for North Carolina that, I mean, they still could pull it out. I mean, look at what Clemson did against South Carolina and look what Clemson did against Miami. Down the stretch, Clemson has not looked good. They
no,
have really struggled. They've given the ball up a lot and it's starting to become a problem for them, especially in the second half of games. They're just handing the ball to the other team constantly. Miami couldn't do anything with it. South Carolina has the offense to do it. Spencer Rattler's on a roll right now, and they put points up. So
yeah,
for North Carolina, that's got to give you hope. Maybe your offense gets out of the slump because maybe the Clemson defense doesn't have what some of these other defenses have piece wise to be able to play man against you and to frustrate Drake May at the same time. Because I feel like Downs is going to beat anybody they have one on one. That's not a matchup
yeah,
they're going to want to
well,
have all
yeah,
day.
yeah. We'll get more into it with the matchups there. Next on the list, we got Georgia Tech at number 8. This is a team that's been moving. They've been going up. They've been up and down this year. Uh, Mostly in the middle of the pack, falling all the way down, looking like one of the worst teams. And hey, just a tough game this weekend. You're playing the number one team in the country, and you got your third and fourth string quarterbacks. Not much you can do there. And honestly, there's a few key plays that if you don't overthrow a guy a couple of times, things like that, they would have gave Georgia even more of a game than just leading for, you know,
No,
a quarter and a half. Like that was a good play. At Georgia Tech, I mean that defense looks real. I like that could be a turnaround. And honestly, I mean, let's
and
try. I think their interim coach could probably throw his name in the hat
I think their
for the
interim
actual head
coach
coach.
just two things Georgia Tech should do in the offseason, and the power rankings show it. I mean, this is a team that with the injuries they had and the way their start happened with their head coach, middle of the pack in the ACC is an improvement for them. Like they didn't look like they were going to finish that high. They were going to be one of the bottom teams in the ACC. But here late down the stretch, they have looked great. And uh, that's the first thing that Georgia Tech should be looking at. And be like, hey, we need to go ahead and make this interim coach our head coach because he's shown he's got the quality of doing it. And then they need to give their defensive coordinator a raise because what he's done to North Carolina, I mean, that was
Yeah,
impressive. It set a blueprint for other people on how to defend them. And then he
yeah,
goes into Georgia and he has a great game plan against Georgia, which stifles the
yeah.
Georgia offense in the first half. And really, parts of the third quarter, he had them a little confused. And once they were able to figure it out, then they were easily able to
Well, I
move the
think
ball, especially against a Georgia Tech team that
yeah,
didn't have the depth to stay in that game. So,
yeah. I was about to
those are
say that's
things.
where the depth comes in.
Yeah, that's where
Yeah,
depth plays a factor. So, uh, you know, and for Georgia Tech, I have to say, like I said, middle of the pack, that eighth is not a bad place for them. And
yeah,
for the next team, probably can't say the same thing because they're seventh in the power rankings. And this is a team that had much higher admirations. This is a team that thought they were going to be kind of like Miami. There was talks of them being in the ACC championship game. So
yeah,
NC State coming in at number seven of the power rankings. That's not a spot where they thought they would be at the beginning of the year. But then again, their fans wouldn't expect the last couple of games being played by a four string quarterback either.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, a hard fought last game though. I mean, the fact that they could do that, Dave Doran get a little choked up, which I probably would too with the success that was gained in that game. But it's got to be a disappointing season. It happened to them last year. They lost a lot of their good linebacker play due to injury, and they couldn't quite get it last year. Got the upset against Clemson though. This year didn't really have didn't really have much of like the big time win this year. They just had to deal with injuries. I mean, you lose your quarterback early on, and MJ Moore starts to play well, then he gets injured. It was mostly offensive injuries that hurt them the most this year. So, who knows? Maybe they can keep it next year. Maybe they can get healthy and get a few key guys back because I'd like to see it. That's a good team, and Dave Doran does a good job of coaching them too. So as we move on to the next one, number 6, this is a team that kind of surprised me. I expected them to take a little bit more of a hit this year, and that's Pitt. Like Slovis play, Slovis is hit and miss. He needs some consistency. I'm not saying he's top tier quarterback, but he at times he can really sling it, and then other times he's just not good. But that offense, when it comes to rushing, they're probably one of the better rushing offenses you're going to come across. Abanacanda's one of the best running backs in the country. Um, and their defense, the way they play defense, is always going to be good. Um, I mean, they just get after you. Really risky, but it works. And honestly, they finished better than I thought they would this year. You lost your starting quarterback, you lost your best wide receiver to USC, you know, and they didn't give you draft picks for it. I mean, come on. That's
Yeah,
but um, yeah, I mean that's pretty much it with Pitt there. They
well,
still played hard though.
I would say with Pitt, six isn't bad for them in the standings. They jumped up as high as fifth last week. The only reason they
Yeah,
got knocked down is because the next team that we're going to be talking about. But But Pitt definitely deserving of the sixth ranking. I felt like they at times they looked like they could be a top tier team, but at other times they just looked like a middle of the pack team, and it was their inconsistencies of the team. I mean, like you said, the most consistent thing they had was the running game. Their passing game was inconsistent. Their defense was inconsistent. The only thing that was reliable on their defense, with their blitzing style, is them getting sacks. That was it. And other than that, like they're very inconsistent. This is a team that, remember, they took Tennessee to overtime. Could have beat them. We would have never had that crazy story in college football of the undefeated Tennessee going in and doing some of the things they did, because they would have lost to a Pitt in overtime. And then that same Pitt team turns around and they lose games that make you scratch your head all year. So this is a team that they need some consistency. They need to get better in certain areas of the game. One of them being penalties. I mean, they are almost dead last in the ACC in penalty yards per
Yeah,
game. So this is a team that they get penalized way more than most of the other teams that are in the top. There's not another team near the top five or in the top five that's as penalized as they are. So I mean that's one of the major factors as to why they're not in the top five. I mean you
yeah,
can't shoot yourself in the foot with bad penalties. A lot of them are pre-snap penalties, and those are things that got to get cleaned up for them to be able to be a top five team in the ACC next year.
yeah, yeah. And speaking of which, you alluded to it earlier. The team with the biggest jump in the power rankings this week, Duke. All right, just go ahead, take a drive over there, get that man Coach of the Year award, because what Mike Oko just did with this team this year is insane. Um, Especially finishing off the season like they did. I mean, no, I wouldn't have guessed them playing like beating Wake, honestly. But he had a game plan. He came in, he stuck with that game plan, and it worked. Duke held on to that football. I think the first drive took them over 8 minutes.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, they kicked a field goal, but that's 8 minutes that Sam Hartman didn't have the ball. And they fought till the end. And Riley Leonard's developed more and more as a quarterback. So being at number 5, and they're balanced. I mean, they're they're like right in the middle, like offensively and defensively, right there. They don't get take a lot of penalties. It's a Duke team that's significantly better than what we expected. I expected 2 wins at best from this team, and they proved me wrong. So
yeah.
good season.
Coach Elko, definitely ACC Coach of the Year, hands down.
Yeah,
Got to give that man the award because he definitely deserved it in the way he played this season, or way he had Duke playing this season. Like I said, there's not a lot of bad things to talk about with Duke. The only thing is they did have the weakest schedule in the ACC. There wasn't another team in the ACC whose schedule was as weak as theirs. So,
yeah,
um, I mean, that does help for you to have a little bit better season than what other people expect. But in the end, though, they still did it off of being solid on defense and offense. I mean, they're towards the top on offense and defense this year in the ACC, and they're also one of the least penalized teams under Coach Elko. So that's something that really kept them near the top and gave them a chance to win games. I mean, remember there's a lot of close games they lost this year too. People talk about the close
yeah,
wins. There's a lot of close games they lost. We could be talking about a you know 8-9 win Duke team, which would be really impressive.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they still have a shot at it with the bowl
Yeah,
games coming up too.
the
So,
bowl games.
I mean, that's really nice. I mean, this is a Duke team that didn't do much of anything last year, and I think they lost more talent than what they gained.
Yeah.
So it's really a testament to what Elko did. And as we move on to number 4 on the list, well, it's the team that we just mentioned. It's Wake Forest. Um, let's face it, they got a really good offense. Um, Probably going to lose Sam Hartman after this year. Um, it's felt like he's been in the league for for so long playing college football. I thought he was trying to retire from it or something. But no, it's a good offense. It's a manageable defense. It's not a defense that looks pretty when you look at the stats at the end of the game, but they create opportunities for themselves.
Yeah,
They really given that bend don't break style, and it's paid off for them. I mean, they are legitimately one of the top four teams after that loss to Duke, and probably even better. But it's where you
yeah. I
finish.
mean, if North Carolina's defense played like the Wake defense, North Carolina might be undefeated. So I mean, it's
Yeah.
sometimes it's nice to have a bend don't break defense, at least keep you in a game closer. I mean, this is a Wake team that
Hmm.
don't even put up as many points as them. But I have to give the consistency award to Wake. They have consistently. I
Yeah.
think this is almost the fourth week in a row they have been the number four team in the power rankings. I think they're the most
Yeah.
consistent team out of anybody else. Like they just consistently stay at four. They've been there a while, and
Yeah.
it shows. They're definitely with Sam Harmon at quarterback. They are a top tier team. Will they be next year? We'll see. A lot of teams reloading. A lot of changes coming for next year in the ACC. Uh, Honestly, there's you know going to be some changing of the guard. I think a little bit in the ACC because this next team in the power rankings, this wasn't a fluke this year. This is a team that could finish very high in college football recruiting, right up there with Florida State, North Carolina, and Clemson, and Miami when it comes to recruiting. Well, maybe not Miami because, like I said, I think Miami's going to move up higher. But
Yeah.
this is a team that could be up there with them because they still got a lot of offers that they could throw out there to recruits. And that's Louisville sitting at number three in the power rankings. This is a team that their defense played lights out towards the end of the year. And
Yeah.
against Kentucky, they finally got Malik Cunningham back. But unfortunately for them, they didn't get their running game going, which is baffled me. I had Louisville winning that game, and that's one of those things. That's
Yeah.
why it's hard to bet on rivalries because I had them winning that game, and then Louisville somehow against a team that's given up 240 yards in each of their last two games rushing didn't hardly give up any yards to Louisville. So, you know,
Yeah.
it's one of those things where you scratch your head and you're trying to figure out how you lost. And a lot of it was off penalties. There was a lot of Louisville penalties that could have been avoided in that game. They're not one of those teams that are middle of the pack when it comes to penalties. So if they can clean up some of that, they're already one of the top offenses in the ACC. They're at least they're in the top five in ACC, and that's nothing to really seek your head on because there's some good offensive units in the ACC that basically puts you behind Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, and Wake. And so, I mean, that puts you in a good position to be behind those teams and up there with those teams.
No. Yeah. Most definitely.
Yeah.
And I think you said most of it about it. I mean, that defense is going to be scary moving forward. I don't think there's going to be much change there. They might actually be getting addition from subtraction after this year in certain ways. But moving on to number two, and this one kind of surprised me. I almost expected this team to move up, but they didn't. Um, because honestly, some of the stats just didn't turn out in their favor in the game. But that's Florida State. They're the only team to beat their SEC rival out of the ACC teams. Really tough weekend for the ACC, but Florida State looked like that bright spot, and you definitely saw it on the field. You saw it from the players, the reactions. Like this is a team that they they believe it, and to hear what they had to say afterwards, like these guys, they don't see it as a super successful season in a sense of they still lost games, but you saw the fan base get behind them, just all of it that's happened over the past few years. Florida State came out, they finally pulled a win after 3 years over Florida, and they look like one of the best teams in the ACC right now. Honestly, uh,
Oh yeah,
just
definitely
hands all the way
offensively.
around.
I agree. Offensively, FSU is the most balanced team in the ACC. Uh, um, Not saying much because really, if you think about it, a lot of the offenses in the ACC they either throw really well or they run it really well. They don't have that balance uh, that really makes it look good on offense. But FSU was that team this year. They had that balance, and they could have more of it. This is going to be an interesting offseason as there's already rumors of guys hitting the portal that are looking FSU's way. Not to mention, there's a lot of people from this team that are saying they're coming back. I'll believe it when I see it. But if most of
Yeah,
the people that I'm hearing are going to come back, this is a team that don't be surprised if people project them to win the ACC next year. With all the talent they
yeah,
have and everything coming back on the roster, uh, it's wide open for
yeah,
them. The only other team I see them really being a good contender, and that could be their opponent next year, is North Carolina. So, I mean,
yeah,
if we're just doing early estimates, because I definitely FSU deserves this number 2 power ranking. They've really
yeah,
come along great on this win streak to end the season after losing 3 straight to ranked opponents, and
yeah,
one of those being a win that, man, FSU wish they had back. They had the NC State game back. That would have been huge for them. So,
yeah,
I mean, that would be a whole different scenario if we're talking about them having that game back and FSU already being a 10-win team right now. That would be impressive, but they can still go to a bowl game, get that 10th win, and finish
yeah,
strong. I know FSU fans are going to love that. And, it leads us into the number 1 team. Things didn't change there. And surprisingly,
yeah,
they pulled away right here the last weekend, which kind of shocked me on the loss that they pulled away. But they
yeah,
they didn't play badly. Once again, for Clemson, we talked about it earlier, like gave up the ball a lot, and they've been doing that the last couple of weeks. So you'd think that they would move in the power rankings, but um, turnovers alone was not really
yeah,
making a move because they still have done a good job of running the ball the last couple of weeks. They throw the ball well enough considering how bad DJ's been. Uh, it's just defensively, South Carolina picked them apart. Their secondary looked like it had never seen a pass before. Like that's how
yeah,
bad it
yeah. I
is.
will say that. Yeah, because the stats would show that that they actually played pretty well. That the defense did a pretty good job. Everything else, but I watched that game and they made Spencer Rattler look like the Spencer Rattler everyone thought they were getting when he went to Oklahoma under Lincoln Riley. But like that, hats off, by the way, to um, Sean Beamer. Shame. God, wow, I just messed his name up. Anyways, shout out to him. Like 2 really good games back to back. And then, giving us that wonderful moment at the end of Frank Beamer sitting in the stands, listening to his son have people chant Beamer ball at him. Like, that was really cool. Not great for the ACC, though, because Clemson's college football playoff hopes are done.
Yeah,
And honestly, I don't know. This might be, if we don't see a lot of shakeup, because this starts to bring out the question. Like, Dabo said years ago that how you stay on top of college football is by adapting. And is he going to stick with that? Because we know Dabo. Dabo's going to say a lot. He's going to have his words about things. But um, how much of that is actually him just talking, or is he actually going to do it? Because they need some changes offensively. I think their offensive scheme's bad. On top of just DJ not playing well, and there's got to be some serious changes at Clemson.
yeah. Uh,
It's a huge hit.
I will see that. There's got to be some changes coming because right now we don't even think there's an answer for quarterback for Clemson at this point. You have to wonder what is the answer. Kubiak doesn't look like he'd be an answer either, and they have a lot of question marks. And going forward, your defensive coordinator for Clemson, it's not Brent Venables anymore, and it shows. Like he does not make the in-game adjustments that Brent Venables makes. He does not make those quick changes, and their defense kind of gets beaten sometimes because they just love that all of a sudden they're not prepared, and he can't make the adjustments fast enough to get them ready. So this is a Clemson team that they're not they're vulnerable, and who knows, maybe the Alabama and Clemson dynasty is over. This is a rebuild, and we're going to see some new teams rise up, and their names are going to get in there a lot, and we'll start seeing them go and play for titles a lot more. So We could be a change in the guards. There could, just time for some teams to fill that void. So, a
Yeah,
good shot for those other teams to move up and go fill in
yeah,
that void.
yeah. No, definitely. And like just to like touch on it, I mean, this could be a completely different college football playoff this year. If these teams hold it in there, you're going to see USC for the first time, TCU in there, Michigan and Georgia. Like, geez, I, I think if we had a 14 playoff for back in the early 2000s, I think the last time we would have seen something like this was like what 2005 or something,
Yeah,
like 2004.
but hey, beware the hypnotoad,
So
though. Beware the
yeah,
hypnotoad.
we wear the hypnotoad. Yeah, right. But no, I mean that's our power rankings there. Super excited. Please come back again for another episode when we talk about the championship matchup. We're also going to do bowl predictions 2.0 because well, we got to, right?
Especially after
And that's
Clemson
been doing
shattered
pretty
our
well.
other ones. We need some new ones now.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Way to go, Clemson. Jesus, Dabo. Get it together. No. Uh but please make sure to subscribe, give us a like, also leave a comment if you're listening to this on any of the podcast apps. Apple Podcasts, definitely leave us a 5-star review and a comment. Please feel free to do that. Just leave a comment no matter what. We'll be happy to answer it. You know, and enjoy this bowl season. It's gonna be fantastic. It's gonna be good.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait to catch you guys on the next video.